God has plans to prosper you, give you hope and a future too. So let me remind you of what you have the power to do.
You've been on a journey, trying to find your way. Like the sun, you're rising, 'cause today is your day to unlock every gift inside. Let your potential flow. Don't let anybody kill your vibe. Time to boss up and show. Gotta keep on reaching, keep believing. Act like you know you can win. Live your dreams, reach your goals. Be happy, you can make it. Get motivated with Cassandra. We've got wellness, church by phone. You don't even have to leave your home to be inspired. To rise a little higher with Cassandra. They said you'd never make it, but you're still here. Kept on pushing through all your doubts and fears. Never let a hater see you sweat. Remember who you are. When they go low, let them reap what they sow, while you go far. Gotta keep on reaching, keep believing. Baby, shine like a star. You can win, live your dreams, reach your goals. Be happy, you can make it. Get motivated with Cassandra. If you got haters, they gon' hate. Keep your head up and just be great. It's your season, your winning season with Cassandra. Rise up, time to get on your grind. Go after your dreams, no time to fall behind. Push till the end and never give in. It's your winning season, get ready to win. Keep moving forward and never look back. It's time to get motivated with Cassandra Mack. You can win, live your dreams, reach your goals. Be happy, you can make it. Get motivated with Cassandra Mack. We've got wellness, church by phone. You don't even have to leave your home to be inspired. To rise a little higher with Cassandra Mack.
Today we're talking about one of the most undetected signs of an envious person that you might be overlooking or ascribing to something else. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share if you find value here. Let's get this channel to 100,000 subscribers. I know with your support we can reach that goal. If you are a member of our Wellness Club, the Leaders Circle, our Insiders Club, let me know in the comments how the clubs have helped you. If you have any of my books or any of the inspirational merch, which one do you have and how has it helped you? Let us know in the comments section. So one of the most undetected signs of envy that people often overlook, and it's important to pay attention to, is when a person runs hot and cold. One day they act like they're your best friend and they really like you. The other day they act like they hate you. It goes from hot and cold, and you never know which version of them you're going to get. Now, I want to be clear. Running hot and cold is not exclusive to envy. It can be a sign of narcissism. But what we're talking about today specifically is hot and cold as it relates to envy, and I'm going to give you the breakdown. And so why do envious people run hot and cold? And so think about that person in your orbit, in your circle. It could be a so-called friend, a family member, and you notice this hot and cold behavior with them. And so envy is such a complex emotion because envy stems from coveting and lust. And people tend to think that lust only means sexual lust, but people can have a lust for power, a lust for admiration, a lust for accolades, a lust for constant praise. And so when that person is in that state, they're in emotional turmoil. and it leads to inner conflict. And so one moment, the person has things about you that they admire. That's what draws them to you. But it's important to understand that the very thing they admire, even if they never say it, even if they try to belittle you and play it off, is the very thing that also triggers their insecurity and resentment. And so one moment they feel admiration, the next moment they feel resentment, and they feel insecure and even anger, even hostility towards the person that they envy. And what happens is, because they know you haven't done anything to them, it also triggers feelings of shame, guilt, and self-doubt, making their behavior flip back and forth between warmth and coldness, because there's a sense of shame around envy. Because who likes to admit that they feel insecure in another person's presence? And if they're saying and doing things that are not nice to try to beat you down, to try to tear down your self-esteem, to try to dismantle your confidence, there are moments where they feel guilt around that. And they're never going to admit this to you in most cases, but what you're going to see is the behavior, right? You will see the hot and cold. Here's the other piece. When you're dealing with an envious person who can't face themselves, in their mind, in theory, they believe they can handle you. They can handle your presence without being triggered. And so this is why they'll call you to hang out. They'll call you to do certain things, or they'll come around. So in theory, they believe that they can handle being in your presence. But once they get in your presence, the reality of being in your presence is different from the theory of being in your presence. I really want you to grasp this. And you see this with a person who's in competition with you, even if they won't admit that they're competing with you. And so this person will copy everything you do. They'll mimic everything you do. They have no real personality of their own. They're trying to be a carbon copy of you. Think about the movie, and I reference this quite often, Single White Female with Bridget Fonda. And so in the beginning, right, the roommate, Bridget Fonda's roommate, was constantly complimenting her, constantly praising her, constantly giving her kudos. That's how it always starts, right? That's the love bombing stage, whether it's a platonic friendship or romantic relationship. And so I believe it was, I always forget the other character's name. I never remember if it's Ali Sheedy or Jennifer Jason Leigh, but I'm just going to say the roommate. So Bridget Fonda's roommate, right, in theory, is thinking that she can handle the idea of this other woman who's beautiful, successful. Now, the roommate is pretty in her own right, but the thing about envy is that it blinds you. It blinds you to your own gifts. It blinds you to your own talents. It blinds you to your own blessings. Because remember, what's driving envy is the spirit of coveting and lust. And so when you are lusting after something someone else has, when you are coveting something someone else has, you can't be grateful for what you have. Coveting and gratefulness, coveting and gratitude cannot exist in the same space, right? Science puts it this way. Two forms of matter can't occupy the same space at the same time. And so if that person's head space and heart space is overridden with coveting, where is the space left for the gratitude and the appreciation? And so in theory, they believe that they can compete with you. In theory, that's why they're in a competition with you. But once they begin to realize that no matter how hard they try, no matter how much they copy the way you walk, the way you talk, your style, whatever else they're copying, and they're not getting your exact results, even if they're getting some traction, but they're still not getting your exact results, and they can't get your exact results because they are not you. No one can be you but you. But when that person is in that mindset of lust and coveting, when they're in that spiritual space, right, they believe that they can be you better than you can be you. And so this is why they run hot and cold. And so they are warm thinking that, okay, you know, I'm going to be better than her. I'm going to be better than him. But then when they get around you and they see how you do it ease, or they see how people respond to you, or they see the level of respect people have for you if it's the way you do your job, or if it's your personal style and people are always complimenting you and they're not getting the same compliments that you get when the two of you are together, then it begins to dismantle this idea in their mind that they could be you better than you could be you, that they could compete with you where they don't compare. And the thing is, everybody has their own gifts and talents. Everybody has their own, but envy is blinding, so they can't see that. So, number one, the reason they go hot and cold, we already said emotional turmoil. Number two is competition. So we just kind of spelt that out, that they're in theory, they believe they can compete with you. But when in practicality, they don't get your same exact results at the same rate, in the same way, at the same pace as you do, then the realization begins to hit them that they can't really compete no matter what it is they say, because they're not being themselves. You cannot compete with another individual who's being themselves. You can compete with the best version of yourself. And we're not talking about competition like playing a sport, healthy competition in terms of you are on a basketball team, a baseball team, gymnastics. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about the type of unhealthy competition where you're trying to be a carbon copy or a replica, where you basically want to steal somebody's soul. You're a unique, one-of-a-kind soul. You can't be somebody else. So here are some things that'll begin to help you make it make sense. James chapter 3, verse 16. James chapter 3, verse 16 says this about envy. Where there's envy and self-seeking or selfish ambition, there is confusion and every evil work. So think about what the scripture is saying. Wherever there's envy and self-seeking or selfish ambition, you're going to find two fruits. You're going to find confusion and evil work. And so the reason why you feel confused when a person is going hot and cold, because hot and cold basically means that they are emotionally inconsistent. And so the reason why they are emotionally inconsistent, and you are picking up on this because you are seeing the manifestation of one day they're hot, one day they're cold, is because what you are dealing with is a spirit of confusion as well. And so you're seeing that even if you don't have the language to pinpoint and identify what it is you're seeing in the spirit realm manifest in physical reality, right? So where there is envy and self-seeking, so there's also selfish ambition. They want to be you. They want what you have. They want what you work for without putting in the work. And the thing is, if they were to look at their own gifts and their own talents and the things that are in their life that they have to put in the work for to cultivate those things, they could begin to have traction and happiness and purpose and joy. But when a person can't appreciate what they have because they want what you have, they're in a space where that is going to trigger selfish ambition. So where there's envy and selfish ambition or self-seeking, you're going to find two fruits, the fruit of confusion and every evil work. And this is why you may find out that they've been throwing mud on your name behind your back. You may find out that they are lying. I mean, telling outright lies about you, right? That's an evil work. It's not good work to lie on you. So they're lying on you. Maybe they're trying to steal your work and pass it off as their own, right? Is that good or evil? I mean, it's self-explanatory. And so as you begin to look at their behaviors, right, when they're putting you down, well, you're nothing, or whatever it is that they're saying, right? That's not good. So where there's envy and self-seeking, you're going to notice two very specific things. You're going to notice some sort of confusion, whether the confusion manifests as inconsistency, whether it manifests as speaking out of both sides of their mouth, meaning that they profess to be your friend while stabbing you in the back by gossiping about you and telling outright lies, right? And so the confusion may manifest in a variety of ways, but the heart of it, the essence of it, is confusion, regardless of the specifics of how it manifests. That's the key. So where there's envy and self-seeking, there's confusion in every evil work. And then you're going to notice that there's maliciousness in their actions. There's ill intent in their actions. And so you will begin to notice those things. This is why they run hot and cold. And it's very hard for a lot of people to begin to pinpoint that, because a lot of people are looking for envy to always be blatant. But envy hides. Envy hides. And it hides behind charisma. It hides behind smiles. It hides behind flattery. And you got to be able to discern that, to see through that. And we are having a workshop. So many of you have been asking about the workshop and trying to get tickets. Unfortunately, the workshop is sold out. But we will be doing it again. So the workshop I'm referring to is Discernment 101. How to sharpen your sixth sense for maximum impact and insight. It also comes with a workbook where we are diving into how to train your powers of discernment. Discernment is both a gift from the Holy Spirit, but it is also a power to be trained according to the book of Hebrews. You are to train your powers of discernment. And so this workshop is all about training your powers of discernment in our Spiritual Discernment 101. And so we will be repeating it again. So just look for the flyer in the next, couple of weeks. We will be doing it again. I also have another workshop coming up. There are still tickets to this one, and we will be dealing with discernment as well. But this will be more in terms of discerning one-to-one interactions, discerning environments and group interactions. And so this workshop that will be happening the last Saturday of April is how to read the room with spiritual accuracy and acumen. And if you are a person that's dealing with groups, maybe you're part of a friend group, maybe you have family dynamics that are really difficult to navigate, you definitely want to take this workshop. If you are a leader and you are dealing with groups of people, right? If you are moving forward in terms of being a supervisor, if you are just a person who is constantly networking, you definitely want to know how to read the room. And so you'll see the link for that workshop for anyone who's interested. It will take you to the Eventbrite page where you can find out more information. And that workshop will also come with a work booklet that you can use during and after the workshop to continue your growth in that area. And so James 3:16, as we said, really gives you the essence of what envy looks like when it's manifesting. It looks like confusion. It looks like evil works, right? So this is the reason why you're getting hot and cold. Not only that, let me give you another scripture that's going to drive the point home. James chapter 1 verse 8 says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So the Bible uses the word man for mankind. So it could be a double-minded woman. But when you're dealing with an individual who is envious of you, they are double-minded towards you. There are aspects of you that they admire, but there are aspects about you that they absolutely hate, even if they never tell you that. And so you're dealing with a person who's double-minded, right? And so if you think about the Selena, the story with the singer Selena, she was beautiful, a beautiful singer, and she was really making traction. And she meets this woman named Yolanda who claims to be her biggest fan. And at first, in the beginning, Yolanda was very friendly and seemed like she was the answer to her prayers to make her life easier. But then Yolanda started stealing from her. And Yolanda ends up murdering Selena. And the thing that was so sad, so disheartening, right, is that you see this double-mindedness. And so she is a fan, but a fan, when you're a fan to the degree where you're a fanatic, you're idolizing someone. And I did a video on how that's a very dangerous thing, because when somebody idolizes you, the same pedestal they put you on is the same pedestal they will knock you down from, because no one can live up to a fantasy inside somebody's head. We are still human with human flaws. And so she idolized her and wanted, to be her, wanted the same things. And so a lot of times when a person can't get your results, right, because Selena is beautiful. Selena has this beautiful singing voice. Selena is talented. Selena is musically inclined in so many ways. She was loved by people all around the world, not just in her community. And so Yolanda is not Selena. Yolanda is Yolanda. Selena is Selena. But when a person is around someone who they covet what they have, even if they don't realize that that's where it's coming from, because they don't have the spiritual insight and understanding that what drives envy is coveting and lust spiritually. Psychologically, what drives envy tends to be insecurity, and also resentment, wanting what that person has, feeling that they don't deserve it. But spiritually speaking, is deeper than that. So that person is double-minded. And look what it says about a double-minded man. They're unstable in all their ways. And so the reason why you might be around someone who, when you have interactions with them, it is unstable, it's inconsistent. You never know what version of the person you're going to get. Out of nowhere, they're angry, and you can't pinpoint why they're so angry. And I'll give you an example in my own life of a woman who was envious of me, and I didn't realize it. And this is, years ago, at least a decade ago, if not more than that. It's actually more than a decade ago. Yeah, it had to be more than 2 decades ago. So we're going to a friend's mutual gathering, mutual get together. And the friend asked if she would give me a ride. So I had interactions with her, and we were always friendly enough. And I would try to pursue the friendship a little more, since we all were in the same circle. And she was always a little distant, and I didn't get it back then. I didn't get why she was distant and always busy. It just didn't click for me back then. So we're getting in the car, and she asked me which is the quickest way to the highway. And I didn't know if she should have made a left or a right. I had to kind of figure it out. And she says to me, "How could you be so effing dingy?" This is what she says to me, because I said I didn't know if it was a left, or right. Very pleasant, and it just came out of nowhere. See, because that's that double-mindedness. That is the person who really don't want to be around you, but they want to be around you because there are benefits that come with you, right? They go hot and cold when they're around you. And so she was very nasty. She was like, "How could you be so effing dingy?" Now, we're not going to go to how, we're not going to get into how I responded. That was the old version of me. The new version of me, the more enlightened version of me, would have handled it differently. Hopefully, y'all pray for me. But the old version of me, it didn't go well. So I say that to say, this is why you can have somebody come out their face, they're so nasty, and you're just saying, "Could you please pass the salt?" Or "Hi, good morning." And you're being met with such hostility because they're double-minded. There are things that they admire about you, even if they will never tell you, but then there's that resentment that they feel. And so you're going to get different versions of them. And this is why when I was around this particular woman, and we had mutual friends, we were all part of the same friend group, she was hot and cold. And then I got the nasty version of her when she asked me which is the quickest way to the highway. And as soon as I got in the car, I remember, because I had on all white. I had on white linen. And as soon as I got in the car, she looked me up and down. It was like it bothered her how I was dressed. It just bothered her. And she was antsy from the time I got in the car. And I was so polite, I brought down 2 waters, one for me, one for her. Gave her money for gas without a second thought. And then once we get to the thing of which highway, and she was like, how could you be so effing dingy? And just really went in. I was like, where is this coming from in my mind? That's not what I said. It didn't go down like that, because that's the old version of me. But I say that to say, you may find yourself in situations where you are dealing with someone and you kind of never know what version of them you're getting, because envy produces double-mindedness. Remember, where there's envy and self-seeking, what is there? Confusion and every evil work. What is double-mindedness? It's a form of confusion. So you're going to see inconsistencies. So those are some things to keep in mind in terms of the hot and cold when you're dealing with a person who is envious. A third reason why they're hot and cold is fear of exposure. So someone who feels envious, remember, envy hides. There's a lot of shame around envy, because they know you did nothing to them. You just living your best life. You're just pursuing your goals and your dreams. You just like to put yourself together in a way that makes you look very attractive. You are just a naturally beautiful person inside and outside, inside and out. Your aesthetic is beautiful. Your personality is beautiful. You are going to have people who are going to hate you on sight. And so someone who feels envious, right, they fear being exposed because they know that people won't want to be around them. And so the warm moments, when they're warm to you, it might be attempts to mask that envy. So they're trying to mask it. That's why they're over flattering sometimes. While their coldness stems from that desire to create a little distance to avoid being exposed. And so watch when they say something slick out their mouth and you call them out, you'll see another version of them. When they say something slick or nasty and you call them out or you push back or you meet them, how I did, with equal aggression or worse. So we ain't getting into the details of how that situation went down. It's not my proudest moment. But when you find yourself in these situations, right, you're going to begin to notice these things. Also, the reason they go hot and cold is a desire for control. So envious people can be very manipulative. So think about if you've ever seen the movie Selena, starring Jennifer Lopez, where Yolanda comes into her life, lets her know that she's her biggest fan. She's very manipulative. She manipulates her way. And the father begins to see that something is off. But she forms such a close friendship and gains Selena's trust. And, Selena, no fault of her own, Selena was very sheltered, right? Just with her family and doing her music. And so oftentimes when you're extremely sheltered, right, you don't really always know the evil in this world because you've been sheltered from it. But then once somebody penetrates your circle who has ill intentions from you, you may not notice it as quickly as someone who has not been sheltered or who is not as naive. And so again, no fault of her own, right? She had just a family who was close. But in that sheltering, there were certain things that she didn't catch concerning Yolanda. And so when a person runs hot and cold, that envious spirit, right, they want to control. They want to control you. They want to manipulate you. So envy is also tied to witchcraft, because witchcraft is the desire to override a person's free will. It is the desire to control someone through the tactics of manipulation, intimidation, and sometimes domination. I'm talking spiritually speaking, not how the world defines witchcraft. And so they might be trying to manipulate or influence how you perceive them because they want you to perceive them on your level. And if a person is being a carbon copy of you or trying to be, then that person is not on your level spiritually. Because if you are moving through life from the place of following God's plan, his purpose for your life, moving forward in purpose and destiny, you're not out here trying to harm nobody. You are emanating from a place of goodness. You are emanating from a place of integrity. But that person is not on your level because they're not emanating from a place of integrity. They're not emanating from a place of goodness. They have a wicked agenda. So how could wickedness be equal to good? And so there's a desire to control. And this is why there's this emotional roller coaster that comes with envy, and it will make people inconsistent in their actions. So I hope this was helpful for those of you who have someone around you and you're noticing the interactions are hot and cold. Sometimes it's like y'all are cool and you're like, I wish we could always be like this. Like, why this person got to act so flaky? Why this person got to be so funky towards me? And you can begin to notice if that's what you're dealing with. So always be prayerful. Always be prayerful, right? You always want to go to the source for yourself. Go to God for yourself and be prayerful. And let me be very clear. Hot and cold, running hot and cold is not only a sign of envy. So you don't need to say that in the comments. But what we're talking about in this video is hot and cold as it relates to envy. We know that it can relate to bipolar disorder. It can relate to narcissism. It could relate to a host of other things. But in this video specifically, so that we're on the same page and everybody's not all over the place, we are talking about how envy shows up with respect to a person being hot and cold as it relates to envy, so that we're clear and on the same page. So with that being said, take care of yourselves. And if you are dealing with someone that you believe, you're dealing with an envious spirit, you definitely want, when we offer the workshop again, Discernment 101, you want to come to this workshop because you're going to learn how to train your powers of discernment. And the scriptures talk about training your powers of discernment in Hebrews chapter 5, verse 14. Hebrews chapter 5, verse 14 says, solid food is for the mature, who by constant practice have their powers of discernment trained to discern good and evil. And so the fact that the scripture lets us know that our powers of discernment can be trained lets us also know that discernment is a gift from the Holy Spirit, but it is also a power. It is a power to be trained. And everyone may not have the same level of discernment. We all have seeds of discernment, but you can cultivate your discernment to the point where it is virtually impossible. I said virtually impossible for people to deceive you, to the point where you can anticipate betrayal, just like Jesus. Remember, Jesus anticipated betrayal, right? He let it be known that one of the disciples was going to betray him, and he knew exactly who it was. Also with Peter, he let him know before the rooster crows 3 times that he was going to deny him. So nothing came as a surprise, right? And the scriptures say that we will do even greater works. So this is what the scriptures say. These are not my words. And so that discernment is also in us, right? We all have seeds, but like anything, a seed has to be planted in fertile soil so that it can grow at its maximum level. And so the reason why there might be certain things that we're not discerning sooner than later is because although we have the gift of discernment, we're not training the power of discernment. And so look out again for that workshop. It will be coming up again. And if you're dealing with haters, pick up the book, Rise Above the Haters. That'll definitely help you. I always like to make sure you know the resources that we have available outside of the public videos, because the public videos just give you a fraction of the depth, breadth, and width of the teaching. And we want to make sure you know what else is available if you want to avail yourselves to that. So Rise Above the Haters is a wonderful book that will help you not allow haters to bring you down, and will allow you to keep on rising, thriving, and shining, despite who doesn't want to see you win, despite who doesn't have your best interest, despite who don't clap when you move forward. Nothing can stop your purpose and destiny except you. And so keep moving forward. Don't let the haters get you down if that's what you're dealing with. And if you're not a member of the Wednesday Wellness Club, you're really missing out. The Wednesday Wellness Club is one of the tiers of channel membership here at Cassandra Mack YouTube channel, where we focus on mental self-care, emotional self-care, workplace well-being, detecting discernment through a biblical lens. We meet by telephone conference call the first and third Wednesday of every month at 9 a.m. There's a conference call number, private number, for the Wellness Club to dial into. And it's an interactive call where not only do you have an opportunity to speak with me and ask me questions, because that only happens in the Wednesday Wellness Club, not in the public videos. You also have an opportunity to interact and hear from other members, hear what other members' challenges are and hear what their successes are, and also learning from other members. So it is interactive, and people say that it is very therapeutic. So if you're interested, you'll see a link and a join button in the video description box. When you click on it, you'll see that there are different tiers of membership, and you'll see the perks that come with each tier and the programs that come with each tier. Make sure to read through the information carefully, because some people join at the introductory tier and they wonder why they can't access the wellness calls because you didn't join at the wellness tier. So make sure you're looking through each tier to see what perk comes with each tier, so you're joining at the level that you want access to. So with that being said, have a great day. Be safe out here. Let's do our best to be kind, but at the same token, let's keep our eyes open, take our common sense, and be discerning. God bless.